Terry McLaurin officially requesting a trade out of Washington. We knew this was brewing. We've been waiting for the Commanders and McLaurin to come together and put a stop to this stalemate. But it appears that the contracts that have been dropped recently haven't swayed McLaurin in his asking price. The guaranteed money that this man's likely asking for is not Garrett Wilson $90 million guaranteed money, but it's probably way more than a $41 million guaranteed price tag, which was just set market value wise out of the Courtland Sutton deal. Courtland Sutton got $41 million guaranteed. That's the number we're looking at. And this is probably not going to be enough for Terry McLaurin, who's 30 years old. So you got to understand the Commanders' point of view too. We're going to break this all down. The Fantasy Football Show. Breaking news show. McLaurin requests a trade. Doesn't mean he gets traded though. Show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So we knew this was coming. We knew that the next step was going to be potentially a trade request if this thing didn't get ironed out. And what have I told you guys is required for a trade to go down in an instance where the player it's not in the best interest of the team to get rid of the player. What was the requirement? There's two of them. One, a divide between player and team that can't really be repaired, or it's at least on track to not get repaired. And then two is an offer the team can't refuse. And Terry McLaurin is in a situation in Washington where Washington has zero interest in getting rid of Terry McLaurin unless there's a divide, which appears to be the case right now, and an offer comes in that the team cannot refuse. So we just got to wait and see if that offer comes in. Now, what is an offer that the Washington Commanders can't refuse? Will they even grant Scary Terry his trade request? I imagine they will because of one reason, and it's not for sure they will. He needs to find out that he's not worth what he thinks he's worth. There might be a team that pays him potentially a little more, and he saves face, and he goes in that direction, and it's kind of not that much of a bigger offer. But he is turning 30 years old. He is turning 30 years old. He's got to have a little perspective here. And I know he sat there in Washington wasting away, no quarterback, finally gets JD5, goes to the moon. We've known that McLaurin would be a top 10 wide receiver the minute he got a quarterback. And it's unfortunate that he got paired with JD5 late in his career, but he can't go asking for Garrett Wilson money. Now, it's very easy to blame Washington here, but Washington, you don't even know to what degree they've gone and jumped through these hoops for him and said, look, we'll give you these incentives. We'll give you as friendly of a player deal as we can give you. We'll give you as much upfront money as we can to compensate that we're not giving you a $90 million guaranteed deal because you're 30 years old. And he says, well, I'm different. I can play through 33, 34, 35. Guess what? 30 years old is maybe your hold your breath, plug your nose season where you don't know if this player is going to play good at 31. So McLaurin's got to have a realistic expectation here. And I have a feeling that this is going to be pointed toward the Commanders more than McLaurin. But they might say, go find out what you're worth. Request granted. And then McLaurin's going to go out there and find out that no one wants to pay a 30-year-old wide receiver $90 million guaranteed. Now, the Commanders, again, not to say that this is all on the Commander or on McLaurin. The Commanders have zero benefit of trading Scary Terry. Zero. They're on a Super Bowl hunt. They're very capable of being a Super Bowl contender this year. And it's going to be interesting to watch this play out because if they don't retain Scary Terry or hold him in place, in check here in Washington, call his bluff, make him report to the principal's office in week one because he's not holding out. He can't afford to do that. Players can't do that. They can bluff. They can make things uncomfortable. They can hold in. They can mess with the jiving and communication and rapport building and all that camaraderie that needs to be established right now. Most certainly. And that's what the weighing tipping point is, right? Offer you can't refuse. Rift between player and team. No offer that you can't refuse. You're not going to bend. Why would you bend? So is there a deal that the Commanders would say, yeah, let's bend on that? A second round pick? I don't know. Adam Peters loves picks and he's very good at using them. And if you're thinking Jalen Lane is looking pretty good right now in camp, he's looking like the player they thought he could be. Deebo Samuel was acquired. This was still a Super Bowl contending team without Deebo. And if you replace Deebo and McLaurin, you're still a Super Bowl contender. But are you as good? Do you have as good of a shot? The answer is no. But it's still a very good team, still very capable. Will there be a divide big enough that this team says second rounder, there's no repair here? We're not signing you to a $90 million guaranteed deal. McLaurin isn't reported to have requested $90 million guaranteed. But based on that $41 million guaranteed Sutton deal, based on what I know about Adam Peters and the Commanders and how they've operated thus far, amazingly, in the offseason and everything that they've done the first season with JD5, everything that they did last year and so far this year doesn't jive with that they're messing this situation up royally. I think they're not tattletaling on McLaurin in his camp right now about what it is that they're exactly after or why this situation's gone awry. But this is one of those situations though where don't think that this takes the Commanders out of contention, out of Super Bowl contending capabilities. Don't think for a second if you're if you've got your fandom inflicting your capable objective self and you think that taking McLaurin off the roster makes them not a Super Bowl contender, you are biased because Deebo being added is just as good in many ways as McLaurin being there solo. Adding Jalen Lane, Ben Sinnott will be 1 year wiser, even if Ertz got hurt, and maybe they use Ben Sinnott anyway. They've got Christian McCaffrey's brother. There's a whole lot of things they could do. Keenan Allen is out there floating around. Let me just say this. If I was a problem solver here, and you said, Smitty, we pressed the button and traded McLaurin already, and you're now the GM. And I had to resolve that situation in the state that it was in. McLaurin was gone. It was all done. I couldn't do anything about it, but I've been handed the keys to the castle. I would go get Keenan Allen immediately. Keenan Allen in a second round pick is pretty damn good in this situation if you consider what I just mapped out. Amari Cooper is not toast or done. He went to Buffalo where they didn't use him properly, just like they didn't use Keon Coleman properly, just like they haven't used Dalton Kincaid properly. And I'm a Bills fan. So this is coming critically from a Bills fan and a perspective of somebody that loves Josh Allen, who believes the Bills could always be a contender. Not that they're in it necessarily a position to win unless they develop Keon Coleman and Kincaid well this year, or go get Keenan Allen or whatever. But Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper are two very, 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 very good options here in a situation where you got to resolve this. And let me tell you right now, if Keenan Allen is sitting there kicking the tires and they say, come look at this vehicle over here, JD5, he's going to run because Keenan Allen will want to be a Super Bowl winner. Keenan Allen is a great option in this situation. Amari Cooper is a great option. Dare I say both of them is a great look. If you got rid of McLaurin, brought in Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel, what are we talking about here? That's an amazing situation.
Let him cook.
Not saying I like it. Not saying I like it over McLaurin. Let me make that abundantly clear. I'm trying to problem solve. Remember my scenario. You hand me the keys to the castle. I'm now the GM, the acting GM, and I've got to make a move. And you already told me before the GM tapped out, before he got hit on the head, he pressed the button and sent McLaurin packing. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. This is a tough situation. No doubt about it. It's tough to evaluate right now because we don't have all the information. It's easy to judge McLaurin. It's easy to judge the Commanders. It takes two to dance. So there's definitely two situations going on here. It's not just all one person's fault. But dare I say that the Sutton deal, knowing Adam Peters as well as I know Adam Peters, knowing how smart and logical and educated and capable Adam Peters is, I'm pretty sure that Sutton deal, the $41 million guaranteed deal. Kruger, what was Cortland Sutton's contract again? The exact money?
Cortland Sutton signed a 4-year, $92 million extension with the Broncos, and that includes $41 million in guaranteed money.
All right, and what is our estimated guess in news wires out there? Based on all the news, what is McLaurin seeking? What is Terry McLaurin seeking, who just requested a trade, and we're on a live stream right now, by the way, Kruger?
So Terry McLaurin is looking for an extension that would pay him over $30 million per year, which would definitely put him up there with the top wide receivers in the league.
I don't think he's got anything new on that. So, Krug, you go ahead and take a timeout. But $92 million a year, $92 million a year. What is it? So divided by 4 is 23. So $23 million per year is what Sutton got. Okay, $23 million per year is what Sutton got. $92 million, 41 guaranteed. Knowing Adam Peters, knowing the Washington Commanders, knowing everything about that situation, I almost guarantee you that Adam Peters and the Commanders are not necessarily straying too much from this, and that pisses off McLaurin. McLaurin thinks he deserves to be paid for the past. He doesn't. That's not the way it works. I think McLaurin deserves $30 million a year. I do. I don't know that Sutton deserved 23, deserved more. Sutton should have got more. Sutton kind of screwed himself, and I think McLaurin's saying, this isn't my fault. And he's right in some ways. But even if you put it at $30 million a year, as a team, he's 30 years old. You have to protect yourself. You can't promise him even 2 years of that, probably. It's probably more along $50 to $58 million guaranteed instead of 41. Again, this is on Sutton. And even if you gave him 30 mil a year, doesn't matter, right? Because you're only guaranteeing him 58 or 50 or whatever it is. So give him the 30. Who gives a crap? That part, I'm on McLaurin's side. He does deserve 30. Is he asking for 34? Is he asking for 33? Is he asking for 32? Again, keep in mind, it almost doesn't matter what he's asking for. If he asked you for $45 million, but you only guaranteed him $45 million, then you're really only guaranteeing him 1 year, and it's a team-friendly deal. But then in year 2, if he's still balled out and you want to keep him, you're not going to be able to keep him at $45 million for the second year. That's why that number can't be 45. But in theory, it doesn't matter what it is annually to a degree. What matters is the guaranteed money. And my guess is that McLaurin says, look, Sutton made his own bed. I'm not taking 41. Garrett got 90. Garrett Wilson got 90. Meet me in between. The Commanders say, hell no, you're 30 years old, my guy. Ziggy, how old is Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson is 25 years old and was born on July 22nd, 2000.
He just turned 25. Garrett Wilson just turned 25. You're not getting 90. You're not getting 80. You're not getting 70. I mean, would it surprise me if they gave him 60? Not really at the end of the day, but he deserves McLaurin, somewhere in the range of $50 to $58 million guaranteed. $50 to $58 million guaranteed. That's all he deserves. He doesn't deserve more. He's 30 years old. You might want him to deserve more, but he doesn't deserve more. The fair market does not command more. He probably thinks it does. He thinks he's invincible. He thinks he's going to last to 34 years old at an elite level. All players think they can. So this is probably a lot more complex than we know. I guarantee you there are different layers and levels to this that we don't have in our pocket right now. so we can't speak to it, but all the experience I bring to the table covering this stuff from a professional perspective for 23 plus years tells me there's two sides to the story. Tells me that the player thinks he's better than he is long term, even though he is as good as he thinks he is right now. And that this team is smart. They're trying to play smart business. They're trying to say, is Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper, if it's me, are both of those guys plus a second rounder better than McLaurin? Because guess what? What if the Washington Commanders don't win the Super Bowl this year? They still have to live in a world which begins next year, and they get a second rounder. And what if they grab a monster? What if they grab someone that just slipped because of an injury and it's a top 10 overall player? And a year from now, we're sitting here going, oh yeah, that was a great trade. But right now you're like, a second rounder doesn't matter. Give me Keenan Allen and a second rounder if you think this is going to linger to the point where he gets hurt anyway, holding in for so long. He could hold in all the way to September. He'd have a higher risk of injury because he's an older player. And you tell me you give me a second round pick and Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper, and I could maybe grab someone that helps JD5 win multiple championships and not just focus so narrowly on one season. Now, I know Debo's only got the 1 to 2 years, and so you're kind of like, we're all in right now. What do we do? But then again, you think about it from the perspective of Keenan Allen, Debo, even Amari Cooper, Jalen Lane, Ben Sinnott, Zach Ertz. You've got Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt Little, Bill, the rookie running back that looks phenomenal, taking some first-team reps. This might be a team that can still win a Super Bowl without Terry McLaurin. If it didn't have Debo, I would say, no. But this Debo replacing McLaurin still works. Even if we think, oh, it's better with both. Of course it is. But it is not necessarily ruling this team, the Commanders, out from being a Super Bowl contender. Not to mention, again, you got to think less narrow and think, look, a second rounder. I'm not saying they even get a second rounder, but that goes back to what I said. Are they better off trading McLaurin or keeping him? 0% initially is the thing. That's the number. 0% they should be trading McLaurin. 0. But if he is unwilling to play for this team and he's going to put his body in a position where he's going to be likely to get injured, then they got to make a decision. And that decision is, hey, we'll take a second rounder. We'll take Keenan Allen. We got Debo. We bring in Amari, or we just bring in one of them. We got Jalen Lane. Jalen Lane's been popping off in camp. They drafted Jalen Lane for a reason. He looks really good. He's a camp hero right now. Maybe we let the dice roll and we go forward. So we'll break this down a little more as more news comes in. I'll open the phone lines right now. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
By the way, we're going to let the show roll straight into the 8 p.m. show. So anybody that goes to find the show, they'll find it live already. We'll be live over an hour by the time the 8 p.m. show time frame rolls along, which means we'll probably end this show a little sooner than we normally would, which means we'll definitely be back by midnight Eastern on time, not later, to draft as well. So if anybody wants to draft on Underdog with us tonight, make sure you get on over to Underdog, promo code Smitty, and hit that link. I'll drop the link in the live chat, but tonight we'll be here at midnight or earlier because we started this 8 p.m. show so early. We'll be able to definitely get to that midnight show on time. So smash that link. Let me drop the link in the live chat. I'll pin the link. If anybody wants to draft with us on Underdog, make sure you hit this link. Let me just go ahead and merge everybody in. Everybody on the phone line, mute yourself real quickly. I'll come in calling you guys in order in which you called in a second. Let me drop this link here. So this is the promo code Smitty. This link is in the description of any video I have, and this is how you're going to draft with us tonight. But sign up now. Don't be scrambling later or you won't get in. All right, let me go to the phone line here in order which these calls came in. Johnny, you're live, then Ron Navy, then Big T, then Bruce. Go ahead, Johnny, you're live. Everybody else stay muted if you could.
So, forgive me, Smitty, if I missed something. I just got on here. Did you say, by any chance, go over, is there a chance McLaurin, do you think it's a good chance he stays, or do you think he's probably going to bounce?
I think what happens here is, and it could go two different ways, but they're probably going to give McLaurin his chance to go test his market. Whenever a player asks for a trade and they're being ridiculous, a lot of times the team says, you know what, let's put this player in their place. let's send the player out there into the wild. They're gonna talk to teams. They're gonna see what they're worth, and then they'll come crawling back and realize the team that's offering them the contract is not being out of pocket here. I don't think McLaurin could go get a bag that's a little higher than the average Bear would get, because there might be a team that's, like what you think about, like New England or something. I mean, we could go through the teams. The unfortunate part for him is I don't know that there's a team that's going to pay him what he wants, and they're not any. The Bills are not a team that even acquires wide receivers. I mean, when they got Amari Cooper, they didn't use him. I don't think they're going down that road again. You got Denver, the Jets. I'm looking at all these contenders, right? Baltimore, they're not going to go after him. Houston, no, none of these teams. The Rams, I mean, no, I don't see a scenario where this happens. I'm looking around. The Atlanta Falcons had Mooney get banged up, and I still don't think they're interested in that. You never know, though. You truly never know. I just don't see a contender anywhere that would be in the business of getting McLaurin. I'm looking around. I cannot identify a team that is going to be interested in getting McLaurin. We keep hearing that the Cardinals and the Steelers have some interest in another receiver they have all offseason. I just can't see them giving this contract that McLaurin thinks he's deserving of. I don't see these teams giving him that. So what he's going to end up doing is getting set in his place. You're not worth $30+ million. Maybe the Washington Commander deals even higher than what the other teams are going to offer him. And then you got to also understand that the team that's giving him this contract is also giving up draft capital. So what does that draft capital look like? Is a team really going to surrender a second-round pick? And maybe the Commanders take less than that. I'm just trying to give you like a trade offer I wouldn't be able to refuse if I was the Commanders. And given that McLaurin helps us win a Super Bowl, and again, I think they could win a Super Bowl with Debo and Jalen Lane and bringing in Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen and a second rounder for the longevity of this team and JD5's development and the Super Bowl chances of the future. Keenan Allen and a second is better than McLaurin. But that doesn't mean that it's better this year. So that's why it doesn't mean you can't still get to where you need to get to. Be crafty with your draft picks and still draft a team that can get to where you want it to get to. So it's just one of those tough spots that the Commanders are facing. But I believe that this team has offered him a very fair deal. I do not think they've lowballed him. I think the Cortland Sutton deal, McLaurin's more than likely ignoring than allowing it to help him adjust his mindset. Mute yourself, caller, whoever I added you, and turn down the background noise if you could. But mute yourself real quickly. I got a lot of noise in the background. This is one of those situations where we really don't have all the details, and it's easy to judge it. I just know that through experience, this is a situation that has two sides of the story aren't fully being told. And I believe the Commanders are being professional about it. Like, we're not going to sit here and go, Scary Terry's asking for $79 million per year. Like, they aren't out there, airing the dirty laundry. But it might come out because they're probably at an impasse here where they're going to be like, okay, you put us in this position, trade request granted, and then when someone asks me a question, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say we offered them, we're not to give them the numbers, but they might leak. And that might be the Washington Commanders playing chess. Let's leak the number,
right?
And we'll see where this thing goes. It's certainly going to get ugly. It does not feel like this trade request, and you never know, though. You never truly know. These things can sometimes fix a problem real quickly, but more times than not, it gets a little nasty. So we'll see what happens, Johnny.
I have a decent amount of McLaurin and Debo. I have more Debo than McLaurin, but in best ball. But and then my last thing I want to say is Keenan Allen. When he's healthy and has a good quarterback, he's elite, and he's really good even at his age. And I have seen some rumors about him going to maybe the Raiders.
Well, that could be the case, but if Keenan Allen knew that JD5 was now available to be his quarterback, he's going to stop. He's going to dead stop. Hey, Maggie, hold that meatloaf and also cancel my flight to LV. Thank you. I mean, Keenan Allen is not washed. Keenan Allen, unfortunately, played in a horrible situation. Amari Cooper is not washed. He was pretty good right up until his trade, and then they just didn't use him. And Buffalo does that with everybody. You know, Diggs played well, but since that point, it's like we don't know what Josh Allen's capable of doing with one wide receiver early on in that wide receiver's career. And even though Keenan Allen looks really good right now, today he caught an amazing pass in traffic. Josh Allen threw this missile, and Keenan Allen grabbed it. He's such a tough receiver to contend with. I love Keon Coleman. Sorry, Keon Coleman is Keon Coleman is such a tough wide receiver when there's like a contested catch situation. He did it all offseason last year, and then he vanished. So, you know, I'm trying not to get tricked again by watching him in the offseason because he looks so good. But this is one of those things where, like, Josh Allen got interviewed the other day, and he was asked about Keon Coleman. Instead of pumping him up entirely, he pumped him up. But then he said, you know, when we're rolling with this, we're rolling with that. When we're seeing this coverage, and they wanna lock that down, we're just gonna go over here all game. And it's like I like hearing that because Josh Allen understands it. But he did remind me that there might not be the consistent wide receiver production ever again for a while, at least in Buffalo, until they get that absolute dominant neighbors like monster. But I don't know. I'm hopeful of Keenan Allen. I'm hopeful of Kincaid. I'm hopeful that those guys develop. But the Buffalo Bills would be the most ideal landing spot if they got a stud. But I don't think they have any interest. All right, hold on, Johnny. Let me go over to Ron. Ron, you're live. Johnny, mute yourself real quick.
What's up, Smitty?
What's up?
Well, you know, my feeling in this whole thing is this. Yeah, almost got to the Super Bowl last year. What is the main goal for any freaking NFL team out there is to go to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. That's the main goal. And this crap that's going on right now, I know you love Peters, but it reminds me so much of the San Francisco fiasco that it's like he brought it over to the Redskins. Why hasn't they learned their lesson? You lock these players down, especially when you're going for a Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the main thing that you're looking at. So whatever deal you got to make your deal.
Ron, you don't know what you're making this.
Yeah, but we do know one thing.
What if he says $40 million a year,
that
Ron?
every time San Francisco does this, it ends up in a disaster.
Stop comparing
whether the player's
Peters
right, whether the team is right, it doesn't matter which one
Peters
is right
is
and which
amazing.
one's wrong.
Adam
It ends
Peters
up
has
in a
done nothing but
disaster
explode.
every time.
Ron, why you
ends
bringing
up in a
San
disaster.
Francisco into this? Just because Adam Peters got out of that disaster over there and was always the level-headed person.
A lot like a
it doesn't
San
smell like
Francisco
anything.
deal.
Ron, it doesn't smell like that
Yes,
at all.
it
It
does.
smells like a team that you don't know what the offer was. You're acting like you know what the offer is. You don't know. Like, what if he says, I want $40 million a year? The team's like, we're not doing that. Like what? They're supposed to fold, Ron? You don't know what it is. I guarantee you it's not what you think. It's something in between. It takes two to dance. And I'm not saying the Washington Commanders aren't being a little cheap. They might be. But they're certainly not pulling a San Francisco 49er situation. The Commanders might be cheap. The Commanders might be being cheap. Adam Peters might be trying to penny pinch a little bit, but we don't even know. It feels like it, smells like it. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it is.
You don't penny pinch.
Ron,
you
can't just give a player whatever he wants.
Room all set up.
Ron, if you had a number,
you don't penny pinch.
Ron, your argument would hold water if you had a number. If you're telling me that the offer was this and they weren't doing it, that makes sense. But you don't even know what the offer was. So what happens if you find out it's $34 million offer? Are you still going to say Commanders should be going to 35? They should do whatever it takes. Go to 36. Go to 37. Like, I mean, what if the offer's been $33 million? What if they offered him $60 million guaranteed? You're supposed to give Garrett Wilson $90 million guaranteed money because you're going for a Super Bowl? You can go for a Super Bowl with Keenan Allen and a second-round pick. Ron?
The thing is, okay, look at he's young. We keep talking about he doesn't turn 30 till September. Okay, so he's still officially 29 years old.
That's in a month,
okay?
Ron.
And you got players like Mike Evans out there. He was given a really good contract 2 years ago. For his age at 30, 2 years ago.
Ron, stop.
You talk about 2 years adding money onto that. Ron,
stop.
It's worth more.
Ron, stop comparing Mike Evans or say, let's go to Derrick
Why
Henry.
can't I? He's 32 years old.
It's one player.
Deontay.
It's one player. Yeah, we don't know what
Deontay,
we don't know
what was his contract?
We don't know what Devontae Adams is going to do. We don't know what Mike Evans is probably going to drop off this year at some point, even if it's gradual. He barely had 1,000 yards last year.
He will.
So he could. He might be the anomaly. Mike Evans is such a good power wide receiver that is able to, even if he slowed down, command everything in his vicinity.
Anybody could be an anomaly.
McLaurin is not that type of receiver. McLaurin needs the football delivered in a certain way. He's not the kind of guy that if he slows down will make it in the NFL. Not for an extra 1 or 2 years. Mike Evans is a totally different player. Devontae Adams even is a totally different player with his route running insane capabilities. He's the best route runner in the league. If he's slowed down, he's more capable of lingering. McLaurin just showed us he's good, but he's never been this good until he gets that quarterback. If he slows down, it's not going to be the same thing.
None of them has ever been that good until they get a quarterback.
30 years old, Ron. He's 30 years old. Stop. You can't say, oh, but he can play 33 years. He can play. When the season begins, he almost instantly turns 30 years old. So he's 30 years old. This is his 30-year-old season. You can't pay him at 29 years of age right now because he's 29 for one more month. All right.
Who?
Hang tight, Ron. Hang tight. I'll come back for your rebuttal. We're going over to Big T, then over to Bruce, then we'll go back over to, or we'll go to the 2-on-3 caller, but stay muted for now, and then back to Ron. Go ahead, Big T.
Okay. Sorry, it's raining outside of my car. The Adam Schefter,
we can barely hear you, bro. It's quiet. You're quiet talking.
Is this better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, whatever you were doing, I wouldn't do
that. It's raining outside, and I'm in my car, so that might be why. But
all right.
So Adam Schefter, he sent out a tweet that I feel like it's pretty good and relevant information. Debo, Ayuk, and T. Higgins are the 3 wide receivers over the past 2 years who have had contract negotiations stall and then end up requesting a trade. And then all 3 of those wide receivers end up staying with the team that they were on regardless, right? So
yeah, it's still a very good chance.
Yeah, and so I feel like Terry McLaurin is going to be that case as well. My thing is that I'm kind of on Ron's side as far as like I understand what you're saying, Smitty. Like, we don't know what the number Terry's asking for, and obviously if it's an egregious number, they shouldn't pay it. But this is a chance for the Commanders. Like, they saw that they're a Super Bowl contender with a rookie quarterback. The most valuable contract in sports is a rookie quarterback contract. So now is the time, if they wanted to give Terry McLaurin a 2 or 3 year contract for, screw it, like $29 million. If Terry doesn't accept $29 million, then he's just being greedy.
But here, let me just stop you right there, though, because you don't know what it is. So you can say you agree with this take or that. No one knows what it is. The bottom line is we don't know what the offer is. And the other thing too is just because Terry McLaurin,
just being greedy.
Right, but just because Terry McLaurin requested a trade today doesn't mean the Commanders failed and stopped negotiations or weren't trying to still go there. So everybody's like, what are the Commanders doing? Like the Commanders pressed this button. McLaurin and his agent pressed this button. They're the ones that said, let's request a trade. Wasn't the Commanders' idea to not bring Terry back? Terry's under contract. Scary Terry's under contract. Let's all remember, we've come on here before and said these players shouldn't be able to just under contract request whatever they want, push a team around. You need to give me more money. Scary Terry is under contract. And so why are we saying the Commanders are making a mistake here? Why are the Commanders doing this? They're trying to give him more money in good faith. They're trying to say, look, we'll pay him more, but you're under contract. They could franchise tag him next year if they wanted to. This is not something that it's the Commanders' fault that he's in this position. Should they pay him a good amount of money? Yes. But we don't. We can't say that anybody's at fault here until we know what that number is. Now, if we find out they've been penny pinching this whole time, then I'll agree with you at that point. But right now, my guess is the Courtland Sutton deal has to be the baseline low floor offer now, or we would be making fun of the Commanders and saying, look, Sutton just got this. They're both nearly the same age. They're both wide receiver ones for their team. They're both almost identical stat lines. And if anything, you could argue, oh yeah, McLaurin had a little more touchdown action last year, but over the last 2 years, Sutton's had 17 or 18 touchdowns. They should be getting identical money, although Sutton kind of stepped on his own junk and took a lower ball offer. But, like, let's be real here. He's under contract. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's going to play regardless, right? Like, the thing is just I feel like if there was a chance for the Commanders to make that push for a Super Bowl and also like keep that locker room happy and whatnot, I think they should just overpay Terry for a couple of years extra. That's just my opinion, because
I get it.
It's all about that rookie. It's all about that rookie quarterback contract, man.
I know, bro. But you keep forgetting that it's all about the long term as well. You forget that Keenan Allen plus that, let's say, second round pick, it still gives. And you don't think JD5 is going to turn Keenan Allen into at least something special for one more year? That's all I'm saying. If there was no other option out there.
Though.
I mean, look, Terry McLaurin, we said would be who he was once he got a QB. Who's to say how much of that was JD5? Look, I love McLaurin. I've always loved McLaurin. But McLaurin can't just get what he wants no matter what it is. And we don't know what that is. All I know is that the GM for this team has made nothing but flawless decisions pretty much the whole way. Turned this team around immediately, has made all the right moves, and he's super intelligent and he's super rational. And he wants to get his players. Everything's about getting the right players in the right moment all together. And he's done that beautifully. And if anybody can get out of this in a situation that might be near as good, but definitely better for the future, which is what really matters. JD5, if they don't win this year, let's say they weren't going to win anyway. They get close. All of this is for nothing anyway this year. Like, what if you draft a player in the second round with this draft pick that helps you win 2 or 3 championships in a row? You know, like that is what you're striving for. And if Keenan Allen with JD5 can be near as good as McLaurin with JD5, and you get a second rounder, and this guy doesn't want to play at the number at all, like you can't even get close. Do you think the Commanders would accept his trade request if they were even close on the money? No. If they're close on the money, they'd say, let's wrap this up. Forget this. No trade request. Here's the deal. You asked for this. Let's just do this small little adjustment. We'll give you an extra incentive. Maybe we'll throw a little bit more up front. They get it done. But the fact remains, it sounds like they're miles apart. It sounds like they're miles apart right now. And my guess is that's more on McLaurin's side because of the way the contracts have come out recently. Godwin didn't help matters. Garrett Wilson didn't help matters because that went in the other direction of what he wanted. Sutton didn't help matters. I think McLaurin feels he's worth way more, and he's under contract. You can't just say, here's $34 million per year, $70 million guaranteed. You're 30 years old. Hope it works out. That's not how Adam Peters operates, and he will not bend on that. And I respect that. I think that's a smart choice. He's under contract. The worst case scenario for the Commanders, if they don't get the offer, as I said, that they can't refuse, they say you're getting paid what you're getting paid. We're trying to give you a raise and you won't take it. Guess what? You're playing on your current deal, and then we'll franchise tag you if in the next season if you want. And I know that you don't want a player to have animosity toward you. I'm not saying that's the objective. I'm just telling you this is a business too. This is not about let's overpay him. Let's overpay him to get this thing going. They just grabbed a receiver that if in a worst case scenario, Keenan Allen and Debo is way better than just last year's wide receiver room. Like they're upgrading their wide receiver room with Debo and Keenan Allen than it was with just McLaurin. They also have Jalen Lane. This is a much improved situation. So they're heading toward a Super Bowl, not away from it if they don't bring McLaurin back. They're very, very much, I think, closer if they keep McLaurin on this team. But could they still win it without him? I think they could. It's just, it depends on if they bring in Keenan Allen and how good Jalen Lane is. Let's not forget that maybe Jalen Lane, a guy that Adam Peters identified George Kittle, Brock Purdy, so many other players in San Francisco, which is why he's in the role he's in right now, was assistant GM there, was really essentially the GM in San Francisco when you think about it. This is the talent scout, the guy that knew everything. And the Niners have had horrible drafts since. This is a player, or this is a GM that I believe knows what he wants, and Jalen Lane might not be special, might not be. If not, they'll bring in Keenan Allen. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I think your one, I'll leave this here. I think your one comment is good, that there is more of a likely chance that this just kind of tries, this is his maneuver, like trade request to get them to think he's serious. And then they up their offer a little bit. He finds out that the market's not out there for him, and that's why the team will sometimes grant the trade request to go, bro, go look around. Go play the field. You're going to find out that you're not getting what you think you're getting, and our offer is pretty strong. And it gives the Commanders an opportunity to have their numbers leaked without being unprofessional. And then guess what? Everyone's going to go, Scary Terry's crazy. Like, the fact that he's turning down this deal, he thinks he's getting Garrett Wilson $90 million a year, or $90 million guaranteed money. He's not. So we'll see what happens.
And
all right, last thing, and I got to go to the next caller.
Yeah, two things. Like, one, I agree that it's going to be interesting to see how much they're offering him, because if they're offering him like a solid amount of money and he's still refusing it for a Super Bowl like run, then that's just on Terry, man. But the second thing is, I don't necessarily agree that Keenan Allen in the second is the same value as Terry. Like, given the context of the team and the fact that they went to the NFC Championship, you're taking a risk on a way older wide receiver and Keenan Allen, and him, not necessarily being the same player, especially like Terry, and then also taking the risk of drafting a rookie, and that's just a whole nother deal in itself. So it's just all risk at that point when you can just take the guaranteed 1,000 yards from Terry McLaurin and the chemistry between Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels. So I would rather have Terry than Keenan Allen in a second, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go with age, because will Keenan Allen give you a full season? Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. But will Amari Cooper at 31 give you a full season? Yeah. Neither Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper are long-term options. Again, that age is a problem. But you get that player in for 1 year. You develop Jalen Lane. You figure out what you need to do. Maybe they make another trade. Who knows? It's kind of like the whole thing of the Steelers. Why would the Steelers trade away Pickens and then trade for DK? Pay DK, not pay Pickens, and trade. Like, you never know. It could be you're kind of changing the guard a little bit, or you just don't like the way this fit feels. You never know. They could certainly trade him and then bring someone in and sign them to a long-term deal. But the trading for a wide receiver is probably not the likely scenario. But you got Debo, you got Jalen Lane. This is a pretty damn good arsenal. Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt, Ben Sinnott, Zach Ertz. This is a phenomenal offense. And Debo, we haven't addressed Debo fully yet. All right, hold on. Mute yourself. I'll come back to you in a second. Let me go to the next caller in a second here. We haven't addressed Debo necessarily. Like I said about Debo goes to the moon, essentially, with this, like we said. But it also,
to the moon.
If they don't get Keenan Allen, or if Jalen Lane is not an elite player, or even close to like a really good potential player that could be not only good now but great later, there's a chance that Debo sees more defensive coverage, is less efficient, and at the end of the day has to do a lot more to get to the same numbers, but still does. But then the injury risk could go up if he's getting used more. I think if McLaurin's out there stretching the field, at the end of the day, that's what we actually probably want, because then he's never going to be double teamed. He's going to have so much more space to navigate the middle part of the field and be an immediate safety net, safety blanket for a very quick read, very, very solid quick throw, JD5. And Debo is going to have a field day in this offense as it stands right now, as we project it to be with McLaurin in it. So it does give him more volume, and it does make him more of a centerpiece. He'll be the number one wide receiver. I'm not running from that at all. His value doesn't go down at all. This is kind of the Jahmyr Gibbs Monty thing, where we don't want Monty injured all year, nor do we want Monty or anybody injured. We never root for injury. But when he does go down, it's not celebrating the injury. It's not even talking about Monty. We do standing ovations. We scream and yell for Gibbs. Like, Gibbs is now getting all the volume. And he is going to be electric with that volume, but we don't necessarily want that the whole season. You know, it's kind of one of those things where it's a blessing and a overworked curse that could lead to more potential injury. So it's like, we would, if the trade ended up happening, I guarantee you we'll be in here going Debo to the moon, no doubt about it. But there's pros and cons to not having McLaurin there to stretch the field. But I mean, Debo is the number one wide receiver. Debo now, it's all good. All of it's fantastic. Debo is a league winner. That's why he's been on the, I think, Mars.
He's on a shuttle to
Mars Men list
Mars Man.
for so long, is because he's catching footballs from JD5. He's in some of the best shape of his life, and all the Debo haters that keep saying he's overweight and all that, they don't know what they're talking about. We've already debunked all of that, but they continue to still say it because they're scared. They're scared, or they don't know ball. They're either scared because they put a bunch of receipts out there about him being overweight and he's going to get hurt and he's washed. He's not good at running routes. He can't get off the line. All this garbage takes in non-football, very, I don't know football commentary. They're scared about that. And so they're just doubling down, or they don't know ball, either one. But Debo's in a prime position. And he was talking to Kay Adams about the situation. And he's like, this offense is so different. And she's like, what offense do you like better? And he's like, this one, because you don't know what's going to happen. We rush to the line. We're not in a huddle where someone gets a split second to see where I'm lining up. You might have me in the slot. You might have McLaurin in the slot. You might have one of the tight ends in the slot, and we're moving around constantly, and the defense doesn't know what's coming. And then JD5's mobile. You don't know what to do there. This is different defensive schemes you're seeing. And so Debo's going to be more wide open in different lanes than he's ever been. So this will be a year when people say Debo can't get open. He's constantly being shadowed or double teamed in San Francisco, and he gets to walk over to this situation and be a normal wide receiver. And if you think he's not playing wide back, he's going to play wide back constantly, because wide back is not what people think it is. It's out wide. It's not behind the quarterback. All right, let me go over to the caller. I think one caller just hung up. I was just about to go to him. Let me go to Bruce, then back over to Ron. Bruce, you're live.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up?
I was doing some things in Cortland. Something actually came out and said I took less money than the first offer because I wanted to build a championship team. What if Debo was, or not Debo, what if McLaurin was saying, hey, why don't you just do this and help us build a championship team? And he's one of them guys.
I can't play what ifs.
I'm not saying
I don't know. I don't know.
He says, look, I don't care about a championship. I just want to be paid.
What if I had a tail, Bruce? What if I had a tail? I don't know. I don't know what to say. Those are hypothetical. What if, McLaurin's thinking this? What if McLaurin's thinking that? We don't know. McLaurin wants money. That's all we know. And he wants to win, and he seems like a very good character person, though. Let me put that out there. He does seem humble, but I think he feels a little bit wronged. And I don't blame him, because he's been sitting there rotting away in Washington with bad ownership until recently and no quarterback. And it's like he's handcuffed in this situation, and he finally gets JD5, and it's like now it's his time to shine when he's got, he's on his last leg. I mean, that sucks. That I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, he is under contract. And while I do condone other players doing this, and I condone him doing it, there's only so much wiggle room you have when you're 30 years old and you're probably being offered the fair market value, but you want to be paid as if you're back in your 25-year-old self starting over. And I believe that's where McLaurin's mindset is at. Now, none of us know what the offer is, but I do know that the Sutton deal most certainly raised the floor up to at least that. There's just no doubt about that. And my guess is that instead of him saying, oh, God, because when that happened, I said it could go two ways. His agent could pick up the phone and go, Scary, we gotta accept this offer because it's light years ahead of Sutton's deal, and we don't want the Commanders pulling and rescinding their offer and saying, well, the market's actually different. That could happen. Or Scary Terry's going to go, I could care less about Sutton. I'm Garrett Wilson. And then it's like, what are the Commanders supposed to do? They haven't aired the dirty laundry, so they've been sitting on this. But the fact that they hadn't talked for over a month about this contract tells me that Scary Terry was like, That's disrespectful, that offer. I deserve over 30. They might have said, we'll give you 27 a year. We'll give you 25 million a year, but we'll give you 58 million guaranteed, but we'll only give you 25 million a year, make it very team friendly after the second year. But Scary Terry not wanting in the 50s is probably, my guess, is where this is a sticking point. He wants more than 50 million guaranteed. And I don't blame him, but he's not getting that. At least he shouldn't. I don't know how you run a business that way when, you know, you can't pay on the past. You know, the Niners do that. You want to talk about what smells funny, like Ron said, the Niners do that. Christian McCaffrey, hey, come in, let's pay you for everything you did in the past. Here's a check. Hey, George Kittle, how old are you? Don't worry about it. You've done good, right? Okay, let's pay you for the past. All right, bring him in. Next thing you know, Trent Williams is going to get an extension when he's struggling right now in camp. Ayuk, we don't even want you. Let's just pay you $30 million a year. There you go. Like, they're just writing checks left and right. You can't do that. You can't do that. Terry's under contract. You know, you could.
Looking at it.
You'll go ahead.
I was looking at it two different. The one way I was looking at it was, well, Sutton came out and publicly said, "Hey, I took less money. This is a Super Bowl team. I want to help the team." And the way I'm looking at it is, maybe Terry's like, "I don't care about the Super Bowl. I just want money."
Well, we don't know what he's thinking, Bruce. So, like, we can speculate like that all we want, but it doesn't do us any good. Here's the contract that Terry's currently under, just so everybody knows what we're looking at. And no one's saying he's grossly underpaid given what he did, but the Commanders feel that they could probably get the same thing out of another receiver to a degree, because remember, they've got Deebo Samuel now. And so McLaurin, while he was amazing last year, McLaurin might not get the same work or be leaned on the exact same. And so they're going to tell him, look, if Deebo wasn't here, we probably would be more handcuffed to make an offer to you that we don't even want to offer you. But now we're not in that position. But here's his contract right here. Average salary's $22 million per year, right? So he's already getting what Courtland Sutton is getting roughly annually. This is almost $23 million per year. He signed a 3-year deal worth $68 million. The guaranteed at signing was $34 million. His total guaranteed was $53. So there's a good chance, and I'm not saying you always pay someone more on their second deal because they are getting older, but my guess is that they were going to be in the 50s still. And the fact that this team has him as an unrestricted free agent next year, capable of franchise tagging him, the ball is in McLaurin's court to put this to bed, and the advantage is in Washington's court because they can franchise tag him next year. There's no chance Scary Terry holds out during the season because he can't afford it, and no one's doing that. Not in his position anyway. Could I see somebody doing it at some point? Sure, but it's probably not. The odds are almost 0% that Scary Terry holds out the year. And so it's just a bluff at this point. And the reason that the Commanders would oblige and say, yeah, request granted, is to set him in his place. And maybe it backfires on Washington. That chance is there where he goes out and the team goes like the Patriots or something. You know, they feel they can. And honestly, if the Patriots got McLaurin, I think they'd be a little more dangerous than people think. They might be sneaky for that wild card spot versus now they can't get it, but they're going to look great going there. And we're going to walk into 2026 like we did with the Detroit Lions when I said the Detroit Lions aren't going to pull the Cincinnati Bengals, because the Bengals, I said, were turning around that exact year. They drafted Jamar Chase. They won their division. They went to a Super Bowl. So we nailed that to a T. And I said the next year, the Detroit Lions are going to do the same thing, use the same blueprint. However, they'll fall short, but everybody will hear the alarm bells. The Detroit Lions are coming for everybody. And so that was exactly predicted to a T. I think the Patriots are in the same position. Everyone's going to see Drake May. They're going to see Henderson. They're going to look at this team and go, wow, they really are ready for 2026. They're going to fall short. They get McLaurin. So if they were a team willing to overpay, and I don't even know that they would overpay to McLaurin's liking. It would just be better and saving face and feeling respected and feeling wanted or whatever that McLaurin's feeling like he's not right now. just getting that little extra might push him over the edge and want to go do it. Who knows? But I think that they're definitely miles apart, and we'll see where this goes from here. If a team like the Patriots say, we'll give you, what was the Patriots offer to Godwin? Wasn't it 30 mil? And Godwin turned it down and took $23 million, which was insane.
It was 30 mil.
Yeah, and you do bring up a good topic, Bruce, in that like Sutton's about the team, and you can't judge Terry McLaurin for trying to handle his business. I'm just saying Sutton's about the team, Godwin's about the team, and McLaurin is probably about the team, but he also knows that he's an old dog. He needs to get this now, and he's trying to get it now. But Godwin. It's a little bit different because Godwin wasn't the number one for his team, but he could have been the number one for the Patriots. And the Patriots were offering him $30 million a year, and he's an older player with an injury history. Even though McLaurin's older slightly, I could see them giving him $29-30 million a year. It just comes down to the guaranteed money. Give him $62 million guaranteed. Give him a $30 million a year contract, $90 million 3-year deal, $62 million guaranteed, $30 million annually, and make it team friendly after the second year. That's a deal I could see the New England Patriots paying him. And maybe the Commanders would say, "C'est la vie." Give us a second rounder, and the Patriots say, "Done." That's probably the only scenario that I can imagine playing out, is New England overpaying to develop Drake May. I think, and it's not a horrible move, and it's not a horrible move for the Commanders to give Scary Terry $30 million. It's just, what is Terry asking for? Is he asking for 60? Is he asking for? It's probably the guaranteed money. I will say, if the team was refusing to go to 30 on a team friendly deal, I will have some negative things to spin on that. Like if let's say the offer was $30 million a year, $55 million guaranteed, I'd have a huge problem. But the thing is about the guaranteed money, because it doesn't really matter. Like I said, it could be $1,000 million per year. Doesn't matter. The only thing that affects is that second year the team can't afford the player, and so they want to walk away from the contract or whatever. It's because that guaranteed money is all that matters. All right, let me go back over to Ron. Ron, you're live.
Hey, I'm just sitting here enjoying my steak.
Your steak. I'm having steak tonight too. I don't know what kind though.
I just got done ribeye.
Miss Smitty's making. I can smell it.
Anyways, I sent you a picture. Anyways, I think I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say if Washington, and I'm going to call them Redskins. If the Redskins screw this up, I don't care if they're called
Pause. I just want to. I want to predict what you're going to predict real quickly. This is where you get in your stubborn ways, and it's fine. We love it about you. I'm just predicting it. You're going to get in your stubborn ways, and you're going to try and trash the Commanders right now because they're not doing what you think they should do, and you're going to put a curse on them right now. Go ahead, Ron. Curse them.
I'm not putting a curse on them. How can I put a curse on them? I'm making a bold prediction. There's a difference. Am I not allowed to make a bold prediction?
You are,
anymore?
but this is out of stubbornness, Ron. You know that. You know that about yourself. I'm going to tell you right now, they don't do the right thing. They don't do the right thing right here. The whole place is burning to the ground. Go ahead.
No. What my prediction is if they don't somehow retain Scary Terry and Debo, that's the combination that's going to get them to the Super Bowl if they're going to go. If Scary Terry doesn't do, then they don't even make it past the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
If they make the playoffs at all.
Gotcha. I mean, here's the thing, Ron, is like, and this is where I feel like you may answer it honestly, but your bias definitely of stubbornness can kick in. Do you honestly think their wide receiver room is better with Keenan Allen, Debo, Jalen Lane, or better last year with Terry McLaurin?
Keenan Allen's 33 years old. We all forget
Okay, Amari
he was
Cooper.
on the Chargers.
Amari
All
Cooper.
the years. Hold on, with all the years of injury he had, and he's had a couple of years where he's gotten away from having big injury problems. But he's 33. They get him in. Okay, they get him in cheap, and they're going, okay, we don't have Scary Terry no more, but we got him, and he lasts 2 or 3 games, and he's injured, and he's out for the rest of the season. That could very well easily happen with Keenan Allen at 33 years old. And then what do they do?
Okay, so Ron, let me just back up and say, with Amari Cooper, with Jalen Lane, you're saying that the Commanders are not as well off in the wide receiver room with Debo and all of that, whichever way they go, than just Terry McLaurin.
No.
Okay.
Because for one thing, Terry McLaurin doesn't have he's not injury plagued, and he hasn't had any reason for anybody even to think that he's going to decline right now. And we're all about going about Keenan Allen's been, the last couple of years he's done great and this and that, and these older players, they've done great. So I don't think, because Scary Terry's turning 30 in September, I don't think this is going to be a fall-off year for him, or next year.
Yeah, all right.
Looking at all the other 33 and older receivers out there getting it done.
All right, Ron. Duly noted. I know. I believe that Debo Samuel and Jalen Lane is at least equal to what Terry McLaurin was last year. And I think if you add it, at least equal.
Lane?
And if you add in, yeah, he looks great. They drafted him for a reason, Ron. I mean, he's been blowing up camp. He looks fantastic. We'll see if Christian McCaffrey's brother, Luke McCaffrey, is any good. He was an exciting prospect, but he didn't really do much. But he's been working hard. We'll see what happens. But
no,
I just think that
that's what I was about to say.
This is at least equal, and it might be better. I think people don't realize how good Debo Samuel still is, and that's fine. I mean, Debo Samuel, even if I
love Debo.
Even if you break down what
Debo is the greatest thing they could have done.
Look at what Debo did last year with
Terry.
With a shitty situation. Broken tackles. He was number 7 in the NFL for wide receivers in broken tackles on his very, very injury / 49er crumbling, unraveling season. At yards after contact, he was still number 3 in the league. Debo's done nothing but produce. And when it hasn't gone well, you could blame a lot of it on the team and the usage. He has done nothing but dominate these very important categories for a wide receiver. Yards after contact, yards after catch, and broken tackles. He is a phenom. And I think people are completely missing the boat, and Debo's going to win fantasy leagues. He's just going to win fantasy leagues.
Not without, yeah, but
with or without
Terry
with or without him. With or
it's
without
going to be totally different. And the thing is like you even mentioned it earlier, they're going to probably end up asking more of them, which that was part of his problem in San Francisco. Remember, he didn't want to be used the way they were using him.
Yeah, but they're not going to run him up the gut like a running. They're not doing that. That's only Shanahan. No one would do that. No coach would take their receiver and go, we want to line you up in the backfield and run you up the gut. That's what got Debo worn down. And they'd run him like that a lot. Like,
no, it got him injured.
As a wide back, he's fine. There's no increased injury risk by playing wide back. It's a misconception.
But they still don't have anybody to take the top off the defense.
Jalen Lane.
We thought it was
Jalen Lane.
He's not proven.
Ron, no one's proven until they are. No one.
Exactly. We thought it was Dotson before. Remember, we were all big on Dotson. Dotson didn't
matter. So what? So what?
Dotson,
something fails.
Dotson couldn't do it.
Something fails, and
we thought it was McCaffrey.
You can't ever predict it again.
McCaffrey wasn't it either.
Okay, but just because one player isn't, the rest of everybody else, it can't be solid.
You're betting a lot.
Well,
knowing that you can go to the Super Bowl this year, you're betting a lot on a rookie. When you already know what you got in Scary Terry.
No one's saying they shouldn't bring Scary Terry back. No one's saying they shouldn't bring Scary Terry back. Hold on one second, Big T. No one's saying they aren't bringing Scary Terry back. No one's saying they shouldn't be trying. Everyone is blaming the Commanders for this. Like the Commanders are choosing to not bring Scary Terry back. I feel like that's the way everybody's spinning it. The narrative is Commanders are just stupid Why are they sitting back with their feet up and they're not even talking to the guy? Let me merge and rock out real quickly. Rock out, mute yourself real quickly. I'll be right with you. This narrative's weird. It's weird because no one even knows how hard they've been trying. And knowing this staff and knowing Adam Peters and how great he is at what he does, I'm gonna believe that Adam Peters is doing everything he can within the confines of what makes sense. And I don't believe they're lowballing him. I believe they're giving him an offer that is very fair, and he's trying to milk it because he's mad and he's looking in the past and he's saying, I want to get paid for what I wasted. I want to get paid for 4 or 5 years of being Garrett Wilson. And no GM in their right mind that builds a proper team is going to give him Garrett Wilson money. So I don't think he's even getting offered Sutton money. I think he's getting offered more.
I'm kind of wondering who is the highest paid player on the Redskins as of right now?
I'll ask Kruger. Hold on.
Skill position.
Kruger, who's the highest paid skill position player per year annually on the Washington Commanders team?
According to Spotrac, Terry McLaurin is the highest paid skill position player. The Commanders making
Terry McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already paying him. They're paying him the highest amount. Look, he's getting right now what Courtland Sutton's getting. You know, like you can't sit here and they're not going to give him a lower amount. They're not going to say, "Hey, Scary Terry, you want an extension? Let's send you down to 20." So if he's getting paid $22.8 million per year, which is what Scary Terry's getting, and Sutton just signed a $23 million per year deal, what do you think they're offering him? Bare minimum $27 million is what I would say. And if he has a problem with that, and especially when it doesn't even matter. The guaranteed money is what matters. If he has a problem with living in the $50 million guaranteed zone as a 30-year-old wide receiver, that's on him. And I don't blame the Commanders one bit. I'm not saying I don't want it fixed. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from a business perspective, you can't fold to a player because he's good. You can't say, oh, and he may only be good for 1 or 2 more years. You can't just fold. $23 million a year is what Scary Terry's getting right now. You know they're offering him more than Sutton off of that information alone.
The thing is I still think that you offer him in the 30s. I mean, you lock him down because you still got JD5 under the rookie contract. You go ahead and lock him down now, because then you don't have to worry about him. Because then when it comes time to do JD5
they're
stuff,
trying, Ron.
He's going to command top
They're
dollar.
trying.
Dollar. He's going to command top dollar.
That's where I think the narrative. That's where I think the narrative's funny because of what you just said. They need to lock him down, as if the Commanders aren't trying. Everyone keeps acting like they're not trying to lock him down. Just because Scary Terry's requesting a trade. And no, it doesn't look like it because people are painting it that way, Ron. The narrative out there in the news media world is that the Commanders are sitting on their hands and don't want him. They're trying to lock him down on a long-term deal. He just wants too much money. And they're not going to fold for that. They're going to say, you want a trade request?
We don't know how much he wants, though. You just said we don't know.
But, Ron, he's getting $23
We don't know how much he's
$23 million a year now. They're not giving him a lesser deal on an extension. So you know he's getting the baseline Courtland Sutton money at the very least. And I'm not saying he shouldn't get more, but you think they're not folding to get rid of all this on a $27 million per year deal? It comes down to the guaranteed money. That's what it really is. It's guaranteed money, and we'll find out. But like Big T said, this might all get resolved through the posturing.
It might.
So we can argue about
it does,
who's
because
wrong.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that combination to be on the field this year.
Of course I am.
For Scary Terry, Debo Samuel, JD5, and the rest of them. I'm excited to see this team, and if I was a GM, I'd be locking it all down because I know I have a chance. Look at where we went last year with JD5 as a rookie. We went to the NFC Championship game.
No.
Next step, Super Bowl, baby.
Let me repeat this so it's very clear. In no way am I suggesting the Commanders should not bring back Scary Terry? In no way are the Commanders suggesting that it isn't their biggest desire to bring back Scary Terry on a long-term lockdown deal. So we can keep saying things like the Commanders need to lock him down. The Commanders should do this. The Commanders are trying. And the fact that they haven't talked in 1 month means his representation, most likely, the Commanders wouldn't have cut off ties. That's not how teams do it. The representation, his agent probably said, we're not taking that. You know our number. And that's probably where it lies.
This is what it's all about.
And Adam is waiting.
It's about you doing your show, and it's about having your opinions and putting your stuff out there, and it's about other people, you allowing other people to come in and have their opinion. That's what it's all about. I mean, the Commanders are going to do what the Commanders are going to do, and in the end, the Commanders are going to do what the Commanders are going to do. But the fun of all this is talking about it or being mad about certain aspects of it, and having a chat about it. That's the fun of all off season, going through the draft. I mean, your whole show is based on this.
I know.
And that's the fun of it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying otherwise.
So don't get me wrong.
I'm just
don't get me wrong that I'm just saying my opinion.
Guys, mute real quick. I have not gone through any of these super chats. I promised that I would pay more attention to that, and this topic just derailed me. Viral.
I'll shut up.
Yeah, hold on one second. Everybody mute for a second. BBQ with 2 super chats. Viral, are you still there? I'm so sorry, bro. Let me get these super chats out of the way. Viral, appreciate that $20 hauler. Viral to the motherfreaking moon. To the moon, Viral. Appreciate you so much, my man.
Super chat alert.
Thank you for that super chat. Got the 4th pick, but thinking of trading back to the 7-8. Would love to grab Genty or Bucky at the 1-2 turn. From 4, I keep reaching Kyron or Chase Brown in the 2nd. Missing value later. Feels like a smoother flow later. Thoughts? I don't mind that at all, but I do love Gibbs or Bijan if they do fall. I do love Lamb and Jamar Chase, and that's my top 4. And then Genty, who you can get at 7 or 8. I think if you were at 5, it would be different because then you definitely want to get Genty and trade down to get him. But I don't mind either way. And I can understand if you could swap the picks, it would make you feel a little bit better about that 2nd. But keep in mind, you'd be moving that 3rd. Like, everything has a cause and effect. Personally, I think the 4 is a great pick. I would trade it straight up for like a 2nd and a 3rd rounder where I could get potentially a Bucky and a, you could say Hampton, but Bucky and a Garrett Wilson for that one player. But moving draft slots, I don't mind either way. I think I can build, and I think you can too. You're skilled enough to do it, to build a team you can win from any draft slot. And I don't think there's a disadvantage really at any one of them. I think the 1 pick is pretty advantageous most years, but I'm starting to really love the 12. So I would probably say stay at 4 personally. Get that Gibbs, that Lamb, that Jamar Chase, that Bijan. It's a force. Get Bucky in the 2nd round if you end up getting it. And then Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice in 4, Travis Hunter in 5. I mean, Harvey, Hendy. I actually love what you can build from that territory. But I'm on board if you want to trade it and you feel like, you got to do what's right for you and what you believe you draft best at. So take that slot that helps you. This move hurts Debo's value the most. I don't agree. I just think it gives him an increased injury risk, no doubt. That's just the facts, but doesn't mean he gets hurt. It just means the increase of risk goes up. Doesn't mean it actually makes him get injured. Could efficiency get knocked down? Maybe. It all depends on Jalen Lane, or do they bring in Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper or another receiver? Do they make a trade? If that receiver is capable enough, then it doesn't really change anything, and Debo goes to the moon. If Debo is more focused and double teamed, but here's the thing: is with JD5 roving around, you almost can't double team Debo anyway. So Debo is going to the moon regardless. Anybody that wants to hate on Debo, they can hate on Debo. That's fine by me. Debo's going to have a year. He's going to win leagues. He's almost virtually zero risk in the 6th, 7th round. But if he got traded, Debo would climb. If McLaurin got traded, and even with the threat of being traded right now, Debo would climb probably all the way up to round 5. So we'll have to see where his ADP lingers. It might not climb there until a trade, or if a trade is done. JD lifts all boats. Terry wants baller money because he scored 13 TDs in 2024. Never chase bad money with good money. Niners would pay him, not Washington, says BBQ. Trade him when you can't read the room and your agent is delusional, let them find a trade partner. Commanders haven't signed him for a reason. They have a number, but they have a backup plan, says BBQ. BBQ, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, DM. Appreciate you. BBQ, appreciate you. Viral, appreciate your super chat. Guys, Viral and DB, you're still here, right? I just want to make sure I didn't make you guys. Yeah, BBQ's here. I'm so sorry about the wait on these guys. This one here from LBC. I promise, I vow, this year I'm going to. I know I didn't do a good job tonight, and I'm going to have some hiccups and some missteps, but I promise you this year, I vow, especially when we get into heavy super chat season, which is probably starting tomorrow in August 1. I promised you my goal is to get through them as quick as I can, get to the phone lines, get through them as quick as I can, get to the phone lines, and do a nice rotation, not just all super chats and everything. 12-team PPR keeper league. Need 2 keepers. Bijan for a first, Achane for a 13th, Bowers for a 7th. Need 2 keepers. Bijan for a first, Achane for a 13th, Bowers. You can't keep Bijan. As much as I love Bijan, you get a first-round player if you let Bijan go, on top of having Achane and Bowers. If you kept Bijan at 1, you wouldn't get an additional player. So Achane and Bowers and a first-round pick where you could probably redraft Bijan if you get lucky, or a player like him is better than having just Bijan without that additional player. It sucks. It's really hard to let Bijan go, but that is literally the only decision to make. BBQ says Triple H named to run nationwide presidential fitness test. Smitty already getting work in the new law firm. Smitty approved. HHH.
Jam. Call HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates.
We got the game kicking off right now as we speak. I'm so excited to watch that in the corner of my eye. We'll talk about it. We're here very early, so we're dipping into the 8 p.m. show, which is kind of good because we would have left early anyway because of the game. So this is perfect. This live stream was perfect. I think the Patriots get him. They have the cap for it, and they need wide receivers. If so, May to the moon. May would definitely go, to the moon for sure. He's already a really, really good option this year late in the draft. Record Ron telling you to get off my lawn, says BBQ. Hey, Ron, can we get you to yell, get off my lawn? We might need that.
Get off my lawn!
It was too loud. It was muffled. Go. Back up from the phone, Ron, so that it doesn't get reverbed out. Yell, get off my lawn with the phone away from your face. Ron? I don't know where he went.
Oh, wait. No, I had a mute still.
Okay, yeah.
I was on mute.
Okay, hold the phone away from your face and yell, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn!
All right, thank you. That's a good one. That's a good one, BBQ. We'll clip that. Where do we have that at 1 hour and 17 minutes? 1:17. I'll clip that.
But I'd never say that, being in the Navy, because that's what they always used to do in Norfolk. So people would put signs, sailors, get off our lawn.
Would Terry be asking for a new contract if he didn't make the playoffs? His yearly stats are the same in 2024 as his career. Well, the thing is, yes, touchdown, increase is obviously awesome. And I'm not saying that wouldn't be replicated with JD5 this year either. In JD, look, McLaurin's amazing, but we just don't know. Yeah, I just don't know what we can say other than the Commanders are trying and McLaurin's trying, and they obviously don't see eye to eye. And McLaurin's move here is to request a trade. We always talk about how when a deal doesn't get done, the next step is to request a trade. And if the team gets an offer they can't refuse and the divide is too big, they'll accept the trade. But they have to get an offer they can't refuse. And to me, I don't know if the Commanders can even envision that. You know what I'm saying? Because as we said earlier, there's 0% reason for them to make this trade if they aren't getting that amazing pick, like a second rounder, which might be hard to get from McLaurin. It's hard to say. Maybe they're going to ask for a first. Who knows? And they're not going to get it. And so then it's like we have zero incentive to trade them. So it has to be an incentive, or they're not doing it, because they are better off with an injury-prone McLaurin who held out, that has an increased injury risk because he's older. They're better off with an injury-plagued McLaurin than no player at all. So there's a lot on the line for the Commanders to get an offer they can't refuse. Otherwise, it's a no-go. Keep 2. May in the 14th, Pearsall in the 17th, Pickens in the 6th, McBride in the 5th. Pickens and McBride all day long. Pickens, we're going to talk about Pickens probably tonight. He's catching everything. And Dak is throwing the ball to him constantly in camp. That's not to knock on CeeDee Lamb. It's just Lamb and Pickens and Dak and Milton. Make sure you grab Milton with Dak. You have to. This is going to be a stack. It's going to be, this is why we have it here.
How Dak attack. How Dak attack. Lamb. Pickens.
So we love it. Who are who you're targeting at the 7 and Genty is gone? He's normally not gone. If he's gone, I'm kind of interested in trading down. You know, because I'd rather have Bucky than go. Honestly, I'd rather Bucky and something significant by that trade down than have other players right there. But I think push comes to shove, I'm still taking JJ. If he was to slip, I'm still, you know, I'm worried about that. It depends on the scenario, but I think my advice is to trade down. If you can't trade down, you're kind of in a bind because you're going to almost have to take a Barkley or a JJ or a Neighbors and take the risk. Or you could go St. Brown if you wanted it. It's a tad early. BT early like that is not crazy. I mean, honestly, he's number 4 last year. So if you wanted 0 risk at all, but if I were you, if you had, look, there's a fumble already. Chargers get the ball and a fumble immediately. Here comes Trey. Here comes Trey Lance. Let's see what happens. Day 9, rock out on the challenge. Guys, doing the 35-day challenge. 35 days until opening day. Choose a goal. What do you want to do? Stop drinking soda. That's what I did. Get in shape. That's what I'm doing. Getting to 200 pounds instead of 219. That's what I'm doing. I'm at 210, 211 right now. I'm working out every day. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing all those things. I'm running 1 to 2 miles a day and doing 2 different runs. So like a mile and a half and a mile. I'm trying to do 2 different runs to get my metabolism kicking in. So choose something and let's do it together on an opening day. When I'm ripped, I'm going to be ripped. And I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. That you will all accomplish something along and we can all feel, you know, great together about it. This one here. Okay, Chargers lining up for the first snap. Draft question. 12-team PPR keeper league. Got the 9 pick. Do I keep Neighbors at the 4 or in the 4th round or Ladd in the 10th round? This might be overturned. He may not have fumbled it. His knee might have been down. We'll have to see. They're reviewing it right now. Chat, what do you think on this? Neighbors in the 4th round or Ladd in the 10th? I'm going to say Ladd in the 10th round. Well,
I'll say Ladd.
I guess it depends on how many years you can keep Neighbors. Because I do think Neighbors, you know, you also got to ask yourself, you know, who you get in the 4th round. So instead of writing Neighbors into the 4th round, you're getting Hunter or Harvey or Hendy with Ladd. So there's 2 players you're getting essentially. In the 10th round, who cares? There's nobody. I mean, there's good gems there. But by keeping Neighbors in 4, you're punting away a Hunter, a Harvey, a Hendy, a Hampton, a potential, you know, Joe Burrow. So you're getting Joe Burrow and Ladd instead of just Neighbors with the injury risk this year. Now, if you could keep them until the end of time, it might be different. But if it's a 2 or 3 year keeper league or they progressively go up rounds and you lose out eventually, then I'm going to probably lean toward Ladd because of that value. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't shop Ladd to get back into a player that I like a little bit more even. What can we talk about the fact that we are not alone on this planet, bored on Earth, Sly. People of all walks of life feel depressed, sad, without a purpose. Alien emoji. I don't know, Wes. I appreciate you, but this is the wrong channel you got. Trey Lance throwing a nice little pass. Okay. Is that Disley? All right. I like what I'm seeing here. I'm liking what I see here. And then, of course, no Najee in sight. I mean, Najee's wearing an eye patch right now and some eyeglasses and some sunglasses. We don't. This is Hampton season. There's just no sign of Najee coming back. I know Ron's not liking that topic, and I think I'm done with the super chats, Ron. So you can give your 2 cents on Najee. But there goes Hampton up the gut. That is Hampton still in there, right? I think it is. Man, he looks fantastic.
I have a question, Smitty.
Yeah.
What if you said he wanted DK money? What if he just wanted DK guaranteed money, which was $60 million a year, or $60 million total? Would you do that?
I would say that if I find out, and I've said this from the beginning. I know Ron probably will. Well, he'll remember it now because I'm telling him. But I've said it. If I find out that, and this is my adjust and adapt, and I'm predicting what I think's happening, and I get new information, I'm going to adjust it. I'm not going to put my head down and feel ashamed of myself and apologize. If I find out that they're offering $49 million guaranteed, I will say shame on them. Look at Hampton. Look at Hampton. Look at Hampton going down 2 yards away from a first down. Hampton, HHH and Associates.
Call HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and
It's only
Jupiter.
the first preseason game, Smitty.
If that was Najee, you'd be like, told you he's good. Told you he's good. Hampton's taking over. Najee's going to be holding his jock strap if he's lucky. If he could even... No, I won't. I don't want to be mean. Never mind. I was going to say if you could even find it. He's wearing those sunglasses.
See how you are so anti-Najee. It's not even funny.
But am I wrong? Am I wrong? Because Hampton's getting... Oh.
See?
Was it
That's what we were talking about the other night.
That was Lance.
You're very biased.
I'm not. I'm the most unbiased person you'll ever see in this industry. I'll adjust and adapt like
Lance
what?
just fumbled. Trey Lance just fumbled.
Najee. I can't believe your team.
You're ahead of me.
Ron,
you're ahead of me in this game.
Ron, you're the only person that's team Najee in this Hampton Najee thing. Like you're so loyal and stubborn. You're so loyal and stubborn. They're two completely opposite qualities. Hand off to Hampton at the outside. Hampton. Oh.
And you're not stubborn and loyal. Look at you with Swift. Look at how loyal you were to Swift. How many years you were loyal to Swift.
Ron, you just proved my point. How did I adjust and adapt? I don't want anything to do with Swift. I'm so unbiased. I will switch.
Now you don't.
It's not.
But for years. For the first 2 years I watched you, you were
because I believed in him, Ron. It's not biased just because I believe in the player. I
believe in Najee. What's the difference? I believe in Najee.
No one else does. It's all loyalty.
What's the difference?
It's not using your mind.
So I don't care. It doesn't matter if nobody else does. It matters what I believe.
Bootleg, or not bootleg. Disley touchdown. It looked like it was going to be a bootleg. Trey Lance throws a nice little toss to Disley. Disley hands it to the lineman. The lineman spikes it down to the ground. Hampton. That was a nice little play design there.
Yeah.
It was fake handoff to Hampton.
I got my touchdown for the pick'ems.
Nice. Oh, I should have did that before we went live. All right, let me see if I have a super chat here.
I told you earlier.
Sean, I know. I didn't have time. Put this in the Patreon, but figured I'd throw it out there to Dynasty Contender. Give A.J. Brown and Judy. Get Rasheed Kraft in the third rounder. Chad, if you want to vote on this, you have Kittle already. In a Dynasty, give A.J. Brown and Judy and get Rasheed Rice and Kraft. First of all, I love the idea of getting Kraft. He's a crafty pick. And then Rasheed Rice over A.J. Brown, and yes, all day long. Give me Rasheed Rice. But chat, vote on that one. I think I answer you in the Patreon too. And if anybody else wants one-on-one advice, not just from me, but like you're getting 365, 24/7 advice from our amazing community. It's not designed for you to at me and just get me to answer your questions. I circle around the best I can anyway. It's about the community, helping the community. There's the link. I just dropped it in the live chat. 24/7 live chat Patreon. Click that link, sign up. It's $10 a month, cancel anytime, and it's the only place you need to be. Right now in the Game Day Lounge, during any game, we're going to crowd into the Game Day Lounge. I'm going to pull it up right now. Game Day Lounge, let's go. Be active. Let's be in here. All game long. I'm typing in there right now. I'm over in the Patreon right now. All right, phone line. Let me circle around the phone line. I don't know if I've even got to everybody. Damn it. Somebody's probably waiting. Big T, go ahead and give me your final thoughts. Let me go over to Rock Out after that. Big T, go ahead.
Yeah. First off, you say you're working out. That's really cool, bro. I'm doing 75 hard right now myself, so I'm right there with you, brother.
Nice.
But second thing is the Terry McLaurin thing. Back on that. That's what I was trying to interject. You were saying that you think Debo and Jalen Lean together will equal Terry. The problem I have with that is I think Terry is unique on that offense because he's their best X wide receiver. Debo is not necessarily an X wide receiver, nor is Jalen Lane. And if you think about the success that Debo had on the 49ers, it was because he had a partner in crime with Brandon Ayuk being a great X receiver. And so Debo with Terry is the combination
That's
that the
what we want.
need.
It's what we want.
Upper echelon.
Yeah, it's what we want. But I still,
But that's what I'm saying. Like they need Terry. He's their only X receiver.
They need him, but let's not pretend we know JD5's limitations or the limitations of this offense and how they can construct it differently if they've got different pieces. Like, we've seen it be successful because that's what they had. So we don't know what they would draw up. We don't know how great it would look. Just because they wouldn't have the same thing doesn't mean they can't do it a different way with different pieces. But I do agree that as a team, you want McLaurin and Debo. From a fantasy perspective, I'm not thinking that Debo goes down at all. He just has a little bit more injury risk, which I'm totally willing to take on. All right, a return this time. Does he fumble it? No, he does not. Okay, so here comes the struggle bus Detroit Lions, who are without Ben Johnson. Let's see what happens. I know this is a preseason game, and you know, it's not exactly all these starters out here. Let's see what happens. All right, Big T, we'll see you later, bro. Call him tonight.
Hey, Smitty, I'm going to jump off.
All right, later, Ron.
I'm in.
All right, Big T, we'll see you tonight.
Appreciate it.
Later. Bruce, final thoughts. Then I'll go over to Rock Out real quick.
My final thoughts are it was a good show, and we'll see if they can make a adjustment. And like, I looked at DK's deal, and he was $1 million guaranteed. Maybe he's looking for that. Maybe they offered him something. So, you know, we'll find out.
All right. Yep. All right, later, boy.
Yep.
Bruce. Rock Out. What can I do for you real quickly, as fast as you can, but I'll give you a little bit more than 30 seconds because you haven't really talked. Go ahead. Live.
Yeah, when it comes to Terry McLaurin's situation, I think it's mainly the agent trying to up the price. And right now with the trade request, he's trying to regain some of the leverage he might have lost with the Sutton deal. And if you look at his client list, he's his only $20 million player on his roster, and he's trying to make a name for himself to prop him up for better players on his roster, I believe.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, my man. All right, anything else, Rock Out?
I'm hopeful a deal will get done.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, it's probably 70% chance that they ink Terry. But, you know, if he goes out there and they do grant permission for him to seek a trade, they grant the request, and he finds a money that they're not willing to pay, then they're going to probably have to trade him. But we'll see. I just don't think he's going to get that deal. All right.
I think the agent's probably asking for $34 million.
Yeah, that's what I think too. All right, we'll see you tonight, man. All right, Wes, you got 30 seconds because I'm out the door.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I figured. So Shedeur Sanders is here to stay in Cleveland.
Well, I mean, that's probably what should happen, Wes.
Well, we know that, but that's what's happening.
Well, you can say that. You can say that, but you're again. I'm not going to go over this again with you. If you want to sit here and suggest that the Browns are incapable of making a stupid move because they've said so verbally, that's all we're saying. It's the logical move. He's the best quarterback on the roster. I've said that all offseason long. The Shedeur Sanders is going to make everyone regret all the negative things they said. But this is a team that has, according to multiple reports already, liked Gabriel more than Shedeur. As of this moment, they're leaning more toward him than Shedeur. Not saying that they're going to cut Shedeur, but in the pecking order, they've been more impressed. And the beat reporters as a whole have already reported that the Browns are more impressed with Gabriel by a hair, that Flacco's got the clear advantage for week one, and that this is a team that has mentioned that they might only keep one of Gabriel and Shedeur. I can't control that. The Browns have said this. The Browns are inept. Now it would be stupidity. It'd be stupidity to get rid of Shedeur. I hope they do.
You're my dude. You're my dude. Pickett is injured. He's going to be the first to go.
That's who you
I don't
think.
care about the reports. No. I mean, he is. He is.
Okay.
I have my
Wes, you don't know what the Browns are going to do. Stop acting like stop acting like you think what you think's going to happen is for sure going to happen because it's the Browns. You want to say I think? Okay.
I follow this team 24/7.
Okay, and I follow all the teams 24/7. I follow all the teams 24/8. You follow them 24/7. I follow them 24/8.
My prediction: Pickett's injured. He's going to be the first to go.
That's what would logically happen. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Dude. You and I both agree on everything that should happen, and it's gonna, right? So,
what
now
should
I'm
happen?
searching in on my 30-second timeline. Right?
What should happen? This is also a team that should not have traded for Deshaun Watson with 26 pending cases.
No, they should have.
They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. 26 pending cases and sign him to the worst contract in NFL history. 26 pending cases.
Debate for another.
No, it's not. They are a bad decision-making team.
You're right, and listen. As a person of accountability, yes, you're right. Okay, but they did. They had a stacked team that year, and they reached. Okay, they did. It was a bad move, bro.
You just said it wasn't. You just said it wasn't.
No. Dude, it depends. Dude, every person you asked about that signing was like, "Yo, the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl. They have a stacked team." They
Finish him.
Deshaun Watson. I agree with you. I'm
Call
not
terminated.
You, bro. I don't ever.
I got to go anyway, Wes, so don't take that offensively. I had to hang up on you anyway. But you just said a man of accountability, and then you just said ask anybody, and they would have said the Browns were winning the Super Bowl. I haven't heard that phrase ever. That's the first time I've ever heard it. The first time. Trey Lance back to pass. Throws a nice throw there. Nice throw by Trey. Okay. Now, granted, preseason, granted, backups. I get it. I know what time it is, but this look, we haven't seen football in a while. You can't get mad at me for getting excited over a damn play. We got 2 super chats real quickly. Wes, appreciate you. Wes says Gump wants to know if we can dedicate an hour a week to Jared Blue Pill Progress. I don't know. Gump really likes the music. No, we're not. This is not a music show, Wes, but thank you for the super chat, and I appreciate you. And again, don't take offense that I hung up. You said something that deserved to be hung up on. That's the way the phone line works, but I still appreciate you, and you can call back in tonight. You're not blocked from the phone line or anything like that. Don't freak out. I won't get Bucky in the second with Kyron Brown. Also, late third is brutal. No Wilson, Hall, Hampton are only reaching. I guess if you believe that you know your league well, and Hampton's no longer in there, which sucks. I did want to see more Hampton, but they don't want to get him hurt. You know your league well, Viral. If you think that you need to trade down in order to succeed, trade down. Trade down. It sounds like you're pretty adamant about it, and the last thing I want to do is push you in a direction you don't want to go. And I've already told you I could crush from any of the draft slots. So if you believe you're seeing what you need to see, trade down. Or trade down just that pick if you're allowed. If you can only trade entire draft orders, I get it. But if you can trade, I would definitely trade that pick down and move like your 4th into the 3rd and then leave it at that, Viral. That would be the most ideal way to handle things. Wes, appreciate you. You don't need to regroup. Wes, you can call him tonight. You'll be regrouped. Lance scrambling around. Throws it out of bounds as he scrambles. Okay. Look, Lance looks pretty good. I mean, he's a backup right now. We got to reassess what Lance is. He's a backup, and he looks pretty good. Wes says, but he'll never let me talk long enough to make sense. I love how Wes is blaming that on me. Wes is blaming that he doesn't make sense on me. I'll see you all at midnight Eastern we'll go live before midnight Eastern. Okay, we'll be live before midnight Eastern tonight. We're going to be back in the groove. Missed field goal. Scores 7-0 still. 7:30 left in the first. See you all before midnight Eastern. And on that note,
What is that smell? Someone needs me.
Help! Help! I'm going to lose my fantasy week! Somebody help! Call the Scat Man!
He's the Scat Man. He's scatting all around. Scoring loads when he's called upon. He will ground and pound. Scat Man, yeah. He's the guy you call when things go astray. Scat Man can score all day. He's the Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man will score TDs. He will make you get on your knees and say, please, Scat Man, I beg no more. I've had enough of your touchdown galore. Please, Scat Man, I beg no more. I've had enough of your touchdown galore.
In a jam, call HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and Jupiter.
Don't forget, the in-season is full of Wild Wild West and throne men. No spaceman. No spacemen during the season. That's all locked down. All right, see you guys in a little bit. Don't forget to get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com, my year-round rankings, bold predictions. Don't forget to get on over to the Patreon. I'll drop both links right now. If you need year-round rankings and bold predictions and trade calculators, hit that link. And if you need the Patreon link to get 365 24/7 chat going on. And remember, we chat live during all games. Sunday games, Sunday night game, afternoon games, Monday game, Thursday game, preseason game. This game, I'm in there right now. That link I just dropped, and both links are in the description of every video. See you guys in just a little bit. We'll be live in a bit.